Hey, welcome back to Basement Tapes number 304. Put your drumsticks down, folks. Put away your imaginary drum set. We're going to talk about a real bona fide baseball set here. It's the 1977 Topps baseball set, first of its kind, because it done features the Seattle Mariners and your Toronto Blue Jays playing in probably two of the worst stadiums of the 70s. And there were a lot of bad stadiums in the 70s, but Exhibition Stadium in the Kingdome, perhaps beloved by some of the fans of those franchises. Memories abound, of course, but man, what a bunch of ballparks those were. I have 660 of these, according to my Beckett inventory. That would probably be a full set. Yep, right there. 660 cards, average value $1.52. 1005.20 is the total value. $300 to $800. The guy's mowing my lawn right now. In case anybody wants to know what's going on in the background there, not running a wood chipper. There's a guy mowing the lawn out there. Yeah, $300 to $800 for a set of these in condition that you choose, so long as it's between excellent and near mint. In 1977, for the fifth consecutive year, Topps produced a 660 card standard size baseball set. Among other fashions, this set was released in 10 card wax packs, as well as 39 card rack packs. The player's name, team affiliation, and his position are compactly arranged over the picture area, and a facsimile autograph appears on the photo. Team cards feature a checklist of that team's players in a set and a small picture of the manager on the front of the card. Appearing for the first time are the series brothers, 631 through 634, and Turn Back the Clock, 433 through 437. Other sub-series in the set are League Leaders, 1 through 8, Record Breakers, 231 through 234, Playoff Cards, 276 to 277, World Series Cards, 411 through 413, and Rookie Prospects, 472 to 479, and 487 to 494. The following players' regular issue cards are explicitly denoted as All-Stars: 30, 70, 100, 120, 170, 210, 240, 265, 301, 347, 400, 420, 450, 500, 521, 550, 560, and 580. The key rookie cards in the set are Jack Clark, Andre Dawson, Mark the Bird Fidrich, Dennis Martinez, and Dale Murphy. Cards numbered 23 or lower that feature Yankees and do not follow the numbering check listed below are not necessarily error cards. These cards were issued in the New York area and distributed by Burger King. There was an aluminum version of the Dale Murphy rookie card numbered 476 produced legally in the early 80s. Proceeds from the sales originally priced at $10. Okay. Of this card went to the Huntington's Disease Foundation. So a lot of parentheses there, double parentheses around legally and only a single parentheses around 10. So don't know what's going on there, but get your red pen out and start marking up that blurb from Beckett. Yeah, so let's get to the top three here. Of course, with these all-star designations, you can kind of see the pattern, the 50, 100 numbered pattern that Topps had followed for years. That's where all your studs were. Reggie Jackson's your number one card there. It's a number 10. Then there's the rookie outfielders with Andre Dawson and then Nolan Ryan, all popped up there on the first position. And then we get down to Bruce Sutter, Thurman Munson, and Dale Murphy in the second position, and Mike Schmidt, Tom Seaver, and George Brett in the third. So lots of deceivingly pricey cards here for a late 70s set. And of course, they talked about briefly the Burger King variety. Let's see what Beckett had to say about that. I apologize. But it is a sneaky little thing there. Burger King didn't put their logo on. Topps just simply renumbered the cards. And it's a little bit of a tricky thing if you're not hip to it. You need to understand that some of those lower number cards are Burger King cards. Of course, it gets really tricky when Reggie Jackson's card number 10 in the Topps set. So beware for that. And Burger King would do that again in, I believe, 78 and definitely 79 and 80 as well. But in 80, we got the old Burger King logo. So enough about that. Let's get on to TCDB. 660 cards. Teams depicted here, folks: Braves, Orioles, Red Sox, Angels, Cubs, White Sox, Reds, Indians, Tigers, Astros, Royals, Dodgers, Brewers, Twins, Expos, Mets, Yankees, Athletics, Phillies, Pirates, Padres, Giants, Mariners, Cardinals, Rangers, and the Blue Jays. Hall of Famers, there's a lot of them. 54 of them. Leader cards, base cards, team cards, playoff and World Series cards. There's the turn back the clock cards. And I'm not sure if there's a brothers card in there as well. So lots of opportunities to get your Hall of Famers in various forms. Lots of rookies, 73 cards in the rookie variety, according to TCDB. Inserts and relates, team checklists, and there's other inserts as well that we'll get to later on, I guess. Comments. This is a long one, so bear with us here. RML Angel says, my true first pack of cards to open, and all I wanted was the hard gum. My first card pulled from the pack was Tom House of the Red Sox, number 358. I still keep that card protected. Happy days for an 8-year-old. Nape Dog says, my first collection I completed when I was 11. Bruiser is telling us that 77 Topps number 5 victory leaders, Jim Palmer, Randy Jones. My card number 5 shows Ed Figueroa's signature on the front. Ed Figueroa number should be 195. So he's talking about some errors here, I guess. 1907, card number 7, ERA leaders, Mark Fidrich, John Denny, 125. My card number 7 has Mike Torres, which should be 365. I'm not quite sure what Bruiser's getting at, but I'm going to pass that over because he's talking in a different tongue than I am used to listening to. Round the Diamonds back, classic set design on the card, front and back, one of my all-time favorites. Troman80 says, first pack of cards I ever opened. I remember buying 2, maybe 3 packs, and then the madness began. What is the best way to sort? Sorting by team, then by last name, then by position, then by number on the back. With no checklist and no internet, I had no idea how big this could be. Currently rebuilding the set. W. Brewer 00 says, I was in Japan at the time, and we went to the BX on base, and my mom let me get a pack. I don't remember who I got, but I do recall I had those cards until I believe it was when we came back to the States in 1979. I wish I still had them. Dupes Aplenty says, all the 1977 Topps cards added here, varying condition from very good to poor. I'm not sure what he's saying. Fam Daddy says, just completed this set today. Congrats to you, Fam Daddy. It is a decent enough set with lots of great All-Stars and Hall of Famers. The set I put together has cards in it that are mostly excellent to near mint. Congrats. Eric Marthaler says, my favorite Topps set for sentimental reasons. It was the first set I actively collected. I couldn't wait to get some extra change and run to the drugstore to buy some packs. You could actually find full boxes on the shelf and buy 3 or 4 packs for 50 cents. Boy, have times changed. Mike B, 1984, tells us 1977 Topps were the first baseball cards I ever got. I still think they are one of the better sets. If I feel like going back in time, I just opened my 1977 Topps binder. Vintage Vault 13 tells us, just started building the set. I remember collecting it as a kid, but my original cards are long gone. As I now build the set again, I am realizing how fragile the card stock is compared to previous years. It is definitely easier to peel the corner while putting a card in binder sheets. True that. Snyder Art tells us, I remember collecting these cards as a kid. My dad knew the owner of a local grocery store / deli, that's a backslash, and would get full unopened display boxes from him at a discount. I had tons of these cards. Sadly, not now, of course. Well, dude, I used to be $140 and light on my feet, and that's not happening anymore either. The Cephas, not Bo Cephas, but the Cephas, tells us, it was my 7th birthday when my pop put out a full box of 1977 Topps down in front of me. It took me an hour or so to rip all the packs and gawk at all at the Giants who played baseball. My initial thoughts were, this gum kind of sucks, even though I had a full cheek full. Nolan Ryan, my favorite player, looked so badass. George Foster's sideburns were absolutely magnificent. Dave Rader looked like my grandpa, and Tommy Helms and Rick Jones looked really fake. I played with those cards so much that I wore them out, and finally, after a decade of destruction, I gave them to my cousin, who absolutely destroyed every one of them, looking them over like I did. Only Nolan Ryan survived the purge. My first card I ever pulled was Craig Swan, followed by Boog Pal. I must have had Boog stats totally memorized, as I was fascinated that someone was named Boog. That's another Boog call out here, but that's what we did, folks. We played with our cards back then, and and so did our cousins, I guess, in the case of the Cephas. Phil Flound tells us, this year was the first I started buying baseball cards. I would have turned 7 in May of 1977. I remember going to my grandparents' apartment, and there was a grocery store on the corner. I remember purchasing both wax and cello packs. I have almost all my cards from when I was a kid, though my checklists are marked, and we flipped them and threw them against the wall. So condition is rather beat up. I'm starting to put these sets together, trying to relive my childhood. I've made a few purchases over the years to help. So Phil Flound, my kind of guy. You flipped cards, meaning you flipped cards on a stack. It was like playing a card game. You didn't flip them by selling them. You flipped them physically, literally, flipped them over. Matched up teams, you matched up positions, or whatever you chose to do. So, and we pitched them, meaning we throw them up against the wall to knock down other people's cards. So, Phil Flound speaks my language, and someday I hope we meet in the great card room in the sky, my friend. Packaging, 15-cent package there. We have a California Angel, picture cards, bubble gum, all that stuff. There is a what appears to be a wax case there and a vending case. And then there is probably a cello case, and there's some cello packs, Dwight Evans, of course. Front, back. There's the wrappers. The wrappers have that card killer locker and other offers on hand. You could have bazooka bubble gums, all that's there. There's those aftermarket. Well, I shouldn't say aftermarket, but you name your own price as a vendor. 3 15-cent packs, T-shirts, bubble gum, card killer lockers, all sorts of fun. There's a rack pack, folks. Tom Poquette for Motel 6 with his rookie cup trophy there. And Bump Wills makes an appearance in that rack pack as a rookie and future hobby legend. Let's get over to trivia, perhaps. Trivia tells us that wax packs were originally 15 cents for 10 cards. Last 660 card base set until 1994, after the fifth consecutive year, 73 through 77. First top set with cards featuring the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays. The 634 Rick Ruschel and Paul Ruschel and brother Rick Ruschel have their names transposed on card 634. Let's get over to the gallery here, shall we? Here they are. There's your leaders. The backs of the cards are interesting with the two-tone greens. A little bit of a scoreboard, a sprinkle of unweed-whacked grass around the bottom of the scoreboard. But all those big leaders, look at Brett, Madlock, Nettles, Schmidt, Lee May, George Foster, Bill North, Davey Lopes, Jim Palmer, Randy Jones, Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, Fidrich and Denny, Bill Campbell, Raleigh Eastwick. Nobody really cared about firemen back then, or at least the pitching variety. So first real card there, Doug Rader, card number 9. He's perched in the dugout. Probably not Jack Murphy Stadium, because I believe there's a gentleman in the back that has his leg up on the dugout steps, and I don't think Jack Murphy had dugout steps back then. There's old Reggie Jackson with his airbrushed Yankees uniform. Turns out he was probably an Oriole back then, so they airbrushed some NY on there, goobered it up with black, or in this case, steel blue paint, looks like, and put some pinstripes on them. So Reggie's got a full extreme makeover going there. Let's get to some of the funner cards here. You can see Dave Russello, all that stuff. There's Tom Poquette. Let's read about Tom Poquette. I busted chops for being a Motel 6 magnate, but Tom Poquette, height 5'11", weight 175, bats left, throws right. Drafted Royals number 4, June 1970. Acquired via draft. Born 10/30/1951. Eau Claire, Wisconsin. He's a Scotty. His home is also in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I just spoke French flawlessly there. Card number 93. There's his stats. Minor leagues: Kingsport, Waterloo, Jacksonville, Omaha, Royals, over Omaha, Jacksonville. He was racking up the frequent flyer miles there. Selected as outfielder on Topps 1976 Rookie All-Star team. Tom had first big league hit against A's on September 10th, 1973. So 104 games, batted .302. A decent little debut there. 1977 Topps Chewing Gum Ink, printed in USA. Of course, again, I said two-tone green on gray stock, little scoreboard with some sprinkled grass there. And then there's a fact that says John Burnett had 9 hits in an 18-inning game in 1937, I guess. So, yeah, there's some of them. Dave Haverlow is one of my favorite names to say back then, and the dude didn't have any hair, so it was a very interesting little worm in my brain back then. So let's get going. Let's get to the end here. I want to keep on looking at some cards here. There's the record breakers. You see Minnie Minoso. That's the first time I saw Minnie Minoso or heard of Minnie Minoso. And he would hit safely in however many different decades or whatever it was. I think he would do it again in 1980. So this was him at 53 years old. He already looked about 80. So he's recent Hall of Famer. And now that's a Hall of Famer card from the 70s. Jerry Morales, Nolan Ryan there out there in the deserts at spring training. So there's your record breakers. Turn back the clocks are another interesting part of this set. See if I can get to those in a timely manner. Yaz is in that 10-year anniversary of his Triple Crown. There's the World Series cards, stuff like that. Epic World Series between the Big Red Machine and the Yankees, 1976. So kind of the end of the Reds domination era of the early to mid 70s and the beginning of the Yankees kind of domination from 76 to 81 of the American League at the Royals' expense most years. There's a Chuck Hartenstein sighting with the Blue Jays era. That has to be the greatest airbrushing ever, if it is, but I don't understand where they would have had a photograph. And speaking of photographs, the team photo of the Blue Jays and Mariners doesn't exist because obviously there was no team the prior year. So they would just have the managers and the coaches called out on those cards. Let's look at that checklist card, bright orange. Mark that up with your Bic pen, maybe your pencil if you were really a masochist, but good times there. Larvell Blanks in that purple uniform. Dave Collins here, by the way, is not Dave Collins. Some other chap, I forget what it is. I do a little bit of a deep dive into my 77 discussion. That's not Dave Collins, though. But in the OPG version of 77, it is corrected. So New Mariner, assumed name, and all that stuff. So here's to turn back the clocks. Nate Colbert, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs, 5 years ago in 1972. There's Yaz, 10 years ago. Wonderful black and white card there. Maury Wills record 15 years ago at that point, stolen base record. Bob Keegan, Hurl's Major's only no-hitter of the season in 1957. So not sure why we highlighted that, but 20 years from the 1977 set and 25 years prior to Kiner leads NL for 7th straight year in homers. So you have some of that going on. Let's get to the brothers. There's the rookie cards here, all buggered up with 4 players. Mariners and Blue Jays are sadly displayed there in various forms of airbrushing. Look at Gary Wheelock with his little trident. Why is the trident pointing down? Because it's Mariners, John. That's why. Jim Otten there with the old Sox garb. There's Bump Wills. He's a Texas Ranger. And a lot of airbrushing going on, of course, in that. Look at Al Hrabosky with the old beautiful pill top hat there with the stripes of the day that a lot of teams wore, including the Phillies. Sal Bando is reluctantly a Milwaukee Brewer at this point, even though he is in his A's uniform underneath all that paint and in his A's stadium in the background. So Dave Kingman, he can hit some home runs. There's the NL All-Star designation below for him. Jim Bibby, big hair. There's the team cards. Yeah, I should probably get to the brothers thing real quick here, right? Running out of time, running out of daylight. Golden hour is fast approaching, so need to get my shit together here. There's the brothers. There's Ken and George Brett, Bob and Ken Forsch, Carlos and Lee May, Paul and Rick Russell. Of course, they are reversed, as we say. So fun the previous year where we had the father-son combo. Now we have the brothers. As somebody that had a father and somebody who eventually did have sons, I thought that was cool, but I also had 2 brothers, so it was neat seeing brothers make it to the big leagues back in the day. So anyway, that's 1977 Topps Baseball. Like I said, I do a deeper dive somewhere in the vault here of 70s card show. So if you're interested in that, go find that maybe. Basement Tapes number 304. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to everybody on the next one. Thanks.